What if I told you that one of Hollywood's most beloved couples, Lily Allen and David Harbour, had a story that was nothing like it appeared? And now, words coming straight from Allen's mouth are revealing just how dark secrets this relationship really harbored. The music world has been absolutely rocked by recent bombshell revelations. As 40-year-old British singer, Lily Allen made stunning admissions on her BBC podcast. But this isn't just any statement. This is a raw, unfiltered confession from a woman sharing her darkest moments in their rawest form. On the latest episode of her podcast, Miss Me, Allen opened up about the psychological breakdown she experienced after her split from David Harbour and her decision to seek treatment at a specialized facility. The vulnerability in her voice alone was enough to deeply move listeners. "I went into a sort of treatment center for a few weeks," Allen began, her words carrying weight. "It was great. I did lots of group therapy and some individual therapy, and I needed some time and space away from everything. But the story doesn't end there. Because this revelation is just the beginning of a healing journey." The real bombshell would explode in Allen's October album, West End Girl. In 2020, during the darkest days of the pandemic, Lily Allen and David Harbour met and became the couple everyone envied. The union between Harbour, who brought the beloved character Jim Hopper from Stranger Things to life, and Allen, the rebellious princess of British pop music, seemed like a fairy tale. But fairy tales don't always have happy endings, do they? When news broke in December 2024 that the couple's 5-year marriage had come to an end, fans were shocked. However, the real shock lay in the details Allen poured out in her album. The West End Girl album isn't just a piece of music. It's a story of a woman facing naked truths after being betrayed. According to what Allen narrates in her songs, Harbour's infidelity scandal was the main factor that brought about the couple's end. But the most striking aspect of this story is how Allen tracked her husband due to his suspicious behavior. According to sources, Allen went on Raya, the exclusive dating app used by celebrities, to find out whether Harbour was cheating on her. But not just to flirt. Allen was trying to check if Harbour had a profile on this app and cross-reference women he followed on social media to figure out who he was seeing. A source told the Daily Mail, Lily was looking for women that were on Raya and cross-referencing them with women David follows on Instagram to try to figure out who he was seeing. She was doing her Wagatha thing. Can you imagine how much this situation must have psychologically exhausted Allen? The pain of a woman who spent nights researching on social media to find out if the man she loved was cheating on her. Can that even be imagined? But the darkest side of the story involves allegations about Harbour's behavior on the Stranger Things set. In 2024, allegations emerged that Millie Bobby Brown had accused Harbour of bullying and harassment on set. Brown, who started filming the series at age 12 and is now a 21-year-old global superstar, had begun speaking out about how Harbour treated her. These allegations didn't involve sexual harassment, but Harbour's behavior on set was reportedly so disturbing that Brown needed to have a representative constantly present with her. And this is where Allen's big heart comes into play. According to sources, Allen supported her husband throughout this difficult period. In fact, one source says, Lily supported him throughout it all. It was a brutal time. So how did Allen cope with both the problems in her own marriage while also dealing with her husband's career crisis? How did this dual pressure affect her? The shadow work and inner child therapy that Allen engaged in during her treatment center stay might have been precisely to confront these complex emotions. She had wanted to support the man she loved, but at the same time had learned of his betrayal. How did these conflicting emotions affect Allen? When she said in her podcast, "I needed some time and space away from everything," what was she really trying to say? Released in October 2024, the West End Girl album was Allen's first in 7 years. But this wasn't just a comeback. It was a naked confession where a woman processed the betrayal and infidelity trauma she had experienced. Allen told Perfect magazine about what she went through making the album. Making West End Girl was incredibly manic and emotionally traumatic. The album details the couple's open relationship and allegations of Harbour's infidelity. But the most striking aspect is that Allen wrote these songs in just 10 days. 10 days. Processing the wreckage of a 5-year marriage into songs in 10 days. Isn't this an indication of how deep the pain experienced was? In her songs, Allen expresses not just her pain, but also her anger. In one song, she addresses her husband saying, Your demeanor changed, and these words might be describing Harbour's transformation during his cheating process. So when an artist shares their pain in such a naked way, what kind of impact does it create on listeners? The time Alan spent at the treatment center wasn't just a rest vacation. This was a real healing struggle. In group therapy and individual therapy sessions, Alan probably faced emotions she had suppressed for years. The type of therapy called shadow work helps a person confront aspects of themselves they refuse to accept and have suppressed. Inner child therapy, on the other hand, helps understand how past traumas affect current relationships. Alan's choice of this therapy might be giving a clue about the roots of her betrayal trauma. I wonder what experiences Alan had in the past that triggered her current relationship problems. Her first marriage to Sam Cooper had also ended in divorce in 2018. Her struggle with alcohol addiction is also a known fact. When she says in her podcast, "I just feel very grateful to have been given the time and the space that I needed," it shows how well she knows the value of giving herself this chance. David Harbour's silence throughout all these revelations and accusations is notable. Infidelity allegations, bullying accusations on set, his wife entering treatment. Why isn't Harbour speaking while all this is happening? In an April 2024 interview with GQ magazine, Harbour had said, "I'm protective of the people and the reality of my life. There's no use in that form of engaging with tabloid news, because it's all based on hysterical hyperbole." But is this silence to hide the truth? Or does he really think he's innocent? Recent statements by Harbour show him talking about pain and slip-ups. Do these words indicate remorse, or are they just general expressions? During this period, when filming for the 5th and final season of Stranger Things continues, how Harbour is coping with both the crisis in his personal life and this shadow over his career is a matter of curiosity. Alan's condition after emerging from the treatment process looks promising. Her saying "very grateful" in her podcast indicates that the healing process went positively. In fact, recent allegations have emerged that Alan is now with British actor James Norton, who has appeared in productions like Happy Valley and War and Peace. Is this new relationship a sign that Alan has opened a new page in her life? The timing of Norton's separation from his ex-girlfriend, model Charlotte Rose Smith, coinciding with similar periods, strengthens these allegations. So will Alan be able to learn from the traumas she experienced in the past in this new relationship? How will what she learned in the treatment process guide her in a new love? Alan and Harbour putting their lavish Brooklyn townhouse up for sale seems like the symbolic end of this story. This house tour, featured in Architectural Digest in 2023, showed how harmonious the couple was at the time. However, a comment from a Reddit user is very interesting. 8 house tours are the kiss of death for a relationship. Unfortunate, but true. Apparently makes it easier to sell the house when the couple makes the split public. This comment shows how fragile the lavish lifestyles of Hollywood couples actually are. The self-knowledge and ability to face reality that Alan now possesses might be much more valuable than this lavish lifestyle. The positive reviews that the West End Girl album received musically show that Alan's artist identity has also been strengthened. Creating such a personal and powerful album after a 7-year break shows her success in turning her trauma into art. In CBC News' review, the album is described as peak divorce album. This description shows how successfully Alan reflected her experiences in her art. Both critics and fans loving the album proves that Alan emerged artistically profitable from this difficult process. So how will this success affect Alan's self-confidence? How will she benefit from this experience in her new projects? Alan sharing her mental health struggles so openly also gives important messages socially. A celebrity talking so comfortably about going to therapy and entering a treatment center breaks the stigma around mental health, especially for women who have experienced betrayal trauma. Alan's story is a sign that they are not alone and can seek help. Having therapeutic approaches like shadow work and inner child therapy heard by wide audiences also creates awareness. In the mental health field, Alan's emphasis on gratitude shows the importance of a positive perspective in the healing process. This story isn't just a celebrity couple's separation drama. It's also a story of betrayal trauma, mental health struggle, and personal growth. What Alan went through are situations that all women can experience. Suspecting that the man you love is cheating on you, trying to prove it, experiencing disappointment, then trying to stand up again. Harbour's silence might also be a typical example of how men behave in such situations, but the most important message lies in Alan's recovery story. It's possible to get professional help. Try to know yourself, turn your experiences into art, and ultimately come out stronger. When we delve deeper into the betrayal trauma Alan experienced, it's very interesting to see how this condition is defined in psychology literature. Betrayal trauma is clinically evaluated in the relational trauma category and can show PTSD-like symptoms, according to Dr. Jennifer Freed's betrayal trauma theory. Being betrayed by someone we trust creates deeper wounds than normal traumas, because in this situation, the person experiences both trauma and loss of trust simultaneously. Alan's process of researching Harbour on Raya shows exactly the symptoms of this trauma. Being constantly suspicious, displaying obsessive control behaviors, and hypervigilance are among the typical symptoms of betrayal trauma. According to experts, betrayed individuals usually go through 3 stages. The initial period when Alan noticed changes in Harbour's behavior probably corresponded to this stage. Thoughts like, "This can't be happening," "I must be misunderstanding," are characteristic features of this stage. Second stage, anger and investigation. The period when the Raya research process took place. In this stage, the person displays obsessive behaviors to learn the truth. Alan's social media stalking is exactly an indicator of this stage. Third stage, acceptance and reconstruction. The period when Alan decided to go to the treatment center. In this stage, the person is ready to face realities and begins the healing process. One of the most striking aspects of Alan's story is that it perfectly exemplifies the concept of post-traumatic growth. This concept was developed by Dr. Richard Tedeschi and Dr. Lawrence Calhoun and describes people who experience personal development after traumatic experiences. Alan's West End Girl album is one of the best examples of post-traumatic growth. Transforming her pain into art is not only a sign of healing, but also a process of self-transcendence. The thought, "I overcame the situation." Alan's successful completion of the treatment process and openly sharing it shows her growth in this area. The strengthening of Alan's relationships with close friends and family, seeing more clearly the people who were there during difficult times. The emphasis on gratitude shows that Alan has begun to value life and what she has more. Inner child therapy and shadow work allowed Alan to question herself and the meaning of life at deeper levels. The success of her album, after 7 years and new love relationship, show that new doors have opened in Alan's life. Alan's process of creating the West End Girl album was actually a spontaneous music therapy process. Music therapy is recognized as a very effective method in the healing process of people who have experienced trauma. According to Dr. Lucan McGill's research, the music creation process contributes to healing in the following ways. Music provides the opportunity to express emotions where words are not sufficient. Alan expressing her anger and disappointment toward Harbour in the album is the perfect example of this process. Turning traumatic memories into music makes it easier to process and integrate them. The songs Alan wrote in 10 days show the process of processing 5 years of marriage memories. Creating music helps a person redefine who they are. With this album, Alan brought to the fore not just a betrayed wife identity, but a strong artist identity. The creative process makes the person feel that they have control over their life again. Alan took control by transforming what she experienced into her own story. Digital age relationships and social media impact Alan. His digital stalking experience reveals one of the most complex aspects of modern relationships. According to a 2024 study by the Oxford Internet Institute, 73% of couples have engaged in social media stalking at least once in their relationships. The psychological effects of this behavior are very serious. Every check causes dopamine release, but when the sought information is not found, the need for more searching arises. This creates an addiction-like cycle. Constant research increases the level of suspicion. Alan analyzing Harbour's every move might have been feeding paranoid thoughts. Images on social media don't fully reflect reality. Alan might have struggled when comparing Harbour's shared happy images with the real situation. Every negative finding shakes the person's self-confidence. The questioning, "Am I not enough?" begins. As stated in Dr. Nancy Collier's Digital Detox book, such digital obsessions have become one of the biggest mental health threats of the modern age. Private life pressures and celebrity relationships. It's also important to evaluate Allen and Harbour's relationship within the framework of special pressures experienced by celebrity couples. Hollywood relationships have much more complex dynamics than what ordinary people experience. Every move is monitored. Allen and Harbour's happy moments as well as their troubled periods are under the lens. Both are successful artists. This situation can create power imbalance in the relationship. In Hollywood's social circle, the concept of loyalty can be perceived differently. Success can sometimes overshadow basic values in relationships. According to Dr. Ramani Durvasula's Celebrity Relationship Research, the divorce rate of celebrity couples is 60% higher than the normal population. What Allen and Harbour experienced clearly reveals the reasons for this statistic. Effects on children and family therapy. Allen's two daughters, Ethel, 12, and Marnie, 11, might have been the most affected party in this process. The effects of divorce process on children can be long-term. Children might think their home is not a safe harbor. If they love both their mother and stepfather, they might feel pressure to choose sides. They might experience worries like, "Will my mother be sad again?" Allen's decision to enter treatment was actually an important step for her children too. Family therapists emphasize that parents' mental health is critical for children during divorce processes. Dr. Judith Wallerstein's 25-year research shows that children's recovery after divorce primarily depends on their parents' recovery. New relationship dynamics and James Norton. Allen. His new relationship with James Norton could be an important part of the healing process. However, the process of forming new relationships after trauma also has its own unique challenges. It will take time to trust someone new after Harbour. There might be a tendency to compare the new partner with the ex-husband. During moments of closeness, past traumas might be triggered. How her daughters will receive the new partner might be a source of concern for Allen. However, Norton, being known for his calm and balancing personality, might be healing for Allen. Relationship experts emphasize that it's critical for the post-trauma partner to have characteristics that can provide secure attachment. Industrial effects and career management. The effects of this separation on both parties. Careers seem likely to be long-term. Freedom to make more authentic music. Brand value increase with strong woman identity. Voice in mental health advocacy field. Image problems in post-Stranger Things projects. Casting difficulties due to Millie Bobby Brown allegations. Professional impact of private life scandal. According to Entertainment Weekly analysts, while Allen emerges stronger from this process, Harbour will need to rebuild his career. Social media and public reaction. The social reactions to Allen's statements contain very valuable messages in terms of modern feminism and women's rights. Lily experienced a situation that all women could experience and showed how to recover. Being so open about mental health is encouraging. Betrayal trauma is a real thing and requires professional help. Is it right to share such private details? What kind of example is she setting for her children? Harbour also has the right to defense. These reactions show society's awareness level about women's solidarity and mental health issues. Future forecast and long-term effects. Will this process that Allen experienced and her healing story evolve in the coming years? This experience will add new depths to Allen's music. Artworks created after trauma are usually the artist's strongest works. She might take a more active role in mental health and women's rights. She can guide women experiencing similar situations. She can make her experience the subject of academic studies. A transformation story, the process Lily Allen went through after separating from David Harbour is not just a story of a celebrity couple's separation. This is a comprehensive transformation story that shows the strong aspects of modern female identity, the reality of betrayal trauma, and that healing is possible. The main messages we can draw from this story. Mental health professional help is not stigmatic. It's necessary. Betrayal trauma is a real and serious condition, so Art can be a powerful tool in the healing process. 2. Traumas can turn into growth opportunities with the right approach. 5. Openness and honesty can have a healing effect on others. This story that Alan courageously shared reached millions of women and gave them the message, "You are not alone." And perhaps nothing is more valuable than this. As a final word, Alan's transformation is not yet complete. This is not just an ending, but a new beginning. And we will continue to watch the rest of her journey with great curiosity and support, because real stories are much more powerful and inspiring than fairy tales in books. And Lily Allen's story is exactly such a real power story.